So, tracts of spinal cord and syringomelia. So, in this we will be covering the competency, that is the transverse section of spinal cord at mid cervical and mid thoracic level. And we will also enumerate ascending and descending tracts at the mid thoracic level of spinal cord. The diagrammatic representation of both ascending and descending tracts within the spinal cord is useful for comprehension, but it oversimplifies a more complex anatomic distribution. Concept of a tract as a homogeneous group of fibers is also an oversimplification. Sensory pathways. Sensory pathways are responsible for transmitting sensory information that is perceived or conscious as well as unconscious. Dorsal root ganglia contributes afferent fibers. So in the picture you can see the dorsal root ganglia at the dorsal root or the posterior horn. At the dorsal root entry zone, the afferents segregate into medial group of large diameter fibers which will enter the posterior funiculi. The lateral group has small diameter, both myelinated and unmyelinated fibers. This process gives rise to major ascending tracts within the spinal cord. Lateral group divide into short ascending and descending branches within the tract of Lisard and the synapse on the neurons within laminae as shown in 1 and 2 of the posterior horn. Medial group, that is posterior column. Posterior column medial lemniscal pathway receives its input from neuromuscular spindles and Golgi tendon organs. These fibers form lamination within the posterior column. Most medial of those originating from lower extremity and trunk, that is fasciculus gracilis, carrying sensory information from lower extremity. Lateral is fasciculus cuneatus, carrying similar sensory information from upper trunk and limb. Posterior column. These fibers enter the posterior column. They bifurcate. One branch ascends to the medulla, where they will synapse onto its second order neuron, that is within nucleus gracilis or cuneatus. Those neurons will then project across the midline in sensory decussation and continue their ascent to the thalamus as medial lemniscus. Third order neurons of the pathway will then arise from the thalamus and project to the somatic sensory cortex. Other branch will synapse within the posterior greyhorn laminae, that is second, third and fourth at various levels. The traditional functions of the system are believed to be relaying conscious proprioception as well as discriminative touch. They play the role in supporting the motor cortex in its intricate and precise digital movements. Then we go to anterior and lateral spinothalamic tract. This tract arises from neurons in the laminae 1, 2, 4 and 5 that receive excitatory as well as inhibitory input from neurons within the substantia gelatinosa, that is lamina 2. The axons that arise cross in the anterior commissure of the spinal cord and arrange themselves in anterolateral location. Spinal lemniscus. There are two divisions. Most anterior is anterior spinothalamic tract. This is shown in the picture. It mediates sensory modality. Pain, tickle, itch, sensory modalities are more peripheral, while temperature is more medially represented within this tract. These tracts ascend, merge within the brainstem as spinal lemniscus and are joined later by trigeminal lemniscus afferents from the head, and together they terminate within the thalamus. The third order neurons will then project to the somatic sensory cortex. Spino-reticular arises from neurons within laminae 5 to 7. They accompany spinothalamic pathway terminating within brainstem. It serves as arousal system for the cerebral cortex through the reticular activating system. It helps to interpret the nature of stimulus, that is, whether pleasurable or not. Spinocerebellar provide unconscious proprioception. Fasciculus gracilis provide information from lower limb, that is muscle spindle. Synapse upon the posterior thoracic nucleus in lamina 7. So thoracic nucleus extends from T1 to L1 spinal cord levels. Previously, the thoracic nucleus was called as dorsal nucleus or Clark's nucleus or Clark's column. Spinocerebellar. They give rise to posterior spinocerebellar tract. The tract ascends, reaches the cerebellum through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Cuneo-cerebellar. A similar group of afferents from the fasciculus cuneatus provide information from upper limb and synapses on the accessory cuneate nucleus, which gives rise to cuneo-cerebellar tract. It also reaches cerebellum through inferior cerebellar peduncle. Anterior spinocerebellar. Anterior spinocerebellar tract arises from the lower spinal cord and will initially ascend to the superior cerebellar peduncle, cross again to its site of origin and terminate within the same side of cerebellum. From the upper half of the spinal cord, rostral spinocerebellar will ascend and through the inferior cerebellar peduncle enter the cerebellum. These provide information about the state of internnuncial function in regard to spinal cord reflexes. Other tracts, spinotectal, ends in superior colliculus, runs with spinothalamic and brings somatic sensory information to the superior colliculus. Spino-olivary tract projects to the inferior olivary nucleus and through its effects on the contralateral cerebellar cortex will modify the motor activity. Now we go to descending tracts. Motor cell types within the gray horn are of two types. Alpha motor neurons supply extrafusal skeletal muscle fibers. Gamma motor neurons supply the intrafusal muscle fibers of neuromuscular spindles. What is a motor unit? Motor unit comprises an individual alpha motor neuron, its axon, and all the muscle fibers, varying from a few to 100 dependent upon the precision of the movement. It will subsequently innervate recurrent axons of alpha motor neurons, excite inhibitory internnuncial neurons, that is Renshaw cells, which serve to inhibit their own firing, that is recurrent inhibition. What is spasticity? At each level of spinal cord, alpha motor neurons also receive numerous inhibitory as well as excitatory inputs. These inputs arrive from both supraspinal pathways as well as propriospinal neurons, that is local, and their pathways. Most of these fibers and inputs will exert an inhibitory effect on the alpha motor neurons. If those effects are abolished in cord lesion, the disproportionately strong influence of the spinal intrinsic circuit will lead to clinical phenomena, that is spasticity. Anterior horn cells are organized into group, and those most medial innervate the axial musculature. Descending tracts. The long descending tracts include the corticospinal, reticulospinal, tectospinal, vestibulospinal, and raphospinal. And other pathways will terminate on interneurons, which influence gamma, alpha and gamma motor neuron functions. Coming to motor pathways, the majority of the fibers that give rise to corticospinal tract have their origin in primary motor cortex, perhaps 50%. But supplementary motor cortex and premotor cortex as well as somatic sensory cortex also contributes to motor fibers or corticospinal fibers. Some of these projections will end in brainstem and are called as corticobulbar or corticonuclear. Those from sensory cortex project onto sensory nuclei in the brainstem and spinal cord that modulate the transmission of sensory information. Lateral and anterior corticospinal tracts. Those fibers that reach the medulla form the pyramids visible on its ventral surface. 70 to 90% of these fibers cross the ventral midline in the pyramidal decussation, giving rise to lateral corticospinal tract within the spinal cord. A somatic organization results with fibers destined for sacral area, most lateral, and those cervical medial. Anterior corticospinal tract. Remaining fibers descend uncrossed either within the lateral corticospinal tract or majority adjacent to the anterior medial fissure as anterior corticospinal tract. To innervate the paraspinal and axial muscles. At the appropriate level, fibers will cross through the anterior white commissure to provide their contralateral innervation. All corticospinal neurons are excitatory with glutamate as the neurotransmitter. The corticospinal tract innervates alpha and gamma motor neurons, Reynshaw cells, excitatory and inhibitory internnuncial cells. Other tracts, reticulospinal, act upon motor neurons of axial as well as proximal limb muscles. They are considered part of extrapyramidal system of motor control with lateral vestibulospinal and tectospinal tracts and are involved in the locomotion as well as posture. The medullary reticulospinal tract is believed to act on flexor motor neurons. The pontine reticulospinal tract on extensor motor neurons. So those are all reticulospinal tracts. Tectospinal tract arises from brainstem tectum and orient the head to visual and auditory stimulation. Lateral vestibulospinal helps in maintaining center of gravity for the body. Central autonomic pathway arises from hypothalamus as well as from associated brainstem nuclei terminating on neurons within the intermediolateral columns of this spinal cord. Then we go to anatomical basis of syringomelia. Syringomelia is a disorder in which fluid-filled cavity or syrinx forms within the spinal cord. It may be congenital or acquired. Prevalence of 2 to 8 cases per 1 lakh people. It usually presents in early adulthood with insidious disease progression. Its etiology is not fully elucidated. It is related with interaction between abnormal cerebrospinal fluid and hydrodynamics and intramedullary cord pressures. Usually due to obstruction to CSF outflow in the subarachnoid space. The syrinx may expand and elongate over time, resulting in atrophy of the spinal cord. Tracts involved. Spinothalamic tract carries pain and temperature sensation fibers. It is more commonly involved as the fibers decussate in the anterior commissure, making them more susceptible to the shearing effect during the syrinx formation. In the picture you can see how the syrinx appears. That is, the central canal widens, coming or overturning the spinothalamic tract. It is rarely a primary disease. It is mostly secondary to other disease processes, most commonly extensive compressive lesions at the craniovertebral junction such as Chiari malformation. Other causes, syringomyelia is often associated with spinal injury or inflammation, cases of cervical degenerative spinal disease and syringomyelia have been described together, resulting in subarachnoid space stenosis related to osteophyte disease. Thank you.